Hello everyone, and welcome to the closing of LCA 2022. We've got a few things to go through and a few people to recognise, so please stick around with us for the time being. It's time for our virtual door prizes, the last one for the whole conference. This afternoon we have a final one-year subscription to the Sizzle and a $20 discount voucher with no starch press to give away. Remember, be sure to note if you've won and get into the Regio channel to claim. And here we go. We have Tim Palmer wins the Sizzle and Sherelle Collett wins no starch press. So that's Tim Palmer and Charco. So please go and see Sarah in the Regio. Okay, moving along. We're going to start today by presenting the Rusty Wrench Award. I'd like to introduce you to last year's recipient, Ryan Werner. Over to you, Ryan.
Hi all. The Rusty Wrench is awarded for significant contributions to the open source community. It is the highest honour Linux Australia can bestow. The award is named after Rusty Russell, the founder of this event that we now call linux.conf.au, and was the first recipient of this award. This year we are proud to award this honour to someone who has worked on integrating open source culture into the wider community for a significant amount of time, having helped lead a national organisation advocating for open source principles for 9 years, has been involved with the fight against software patents, helped to push the principles of open source into education, and works towards marrying open source and the commercial world. It is with great pleasure we award this year's Rusty Wrench to Dave Lane.
Wow, I'm incredibly surprised, I have to say. It was a total unexpected pleasure to see that I was even in the consideration for this, much less having being the recipient of it. I'm really honored.
So Dave, I think we'll send the real award to you soon, but because we're a virtual event, I believe we've got a virtual Rusty Wrench to give to you. So we won't be able to see it, but those at home will be able to see it. So I believe I have it here. I'm going to hand it over to you.
I'm ready for it.
All right.
Okay. Got it. Thank you very much. Wow. It's very exciting to join such an august group of people. So yes, I'm thrilled. Thank you.
All right. So I suppose it's my turn now, is it?
I believe so.
All right. Well, much like the Starship Enterprise, the Rusty Wrench Award is a revered technological marvel that will break into two pieces as soon as you least expect it. Moving on. Yep. Got to focus the right window. So we're coming to the end. It's time to say goodbye. Philosophies come and go. Theologies rise and fall, but the aphorism abides, all good things must come to an end. And boy howdy, is this thing about to end. But not after a final word from our fantastic sponsors. One of our two Emperor Penguin sponsors, IBM. Our other Emperor Penguin sponsor, Google. Our King Penguin sponsors, ARM and Red Hat. Our Royal Penguin sponsors. Our Adelie Penguin sponsors, and I'll note that Collabora are one of the two sponsors for the live captioning of our keynote sessions. And our Fairy Penguin sponsor, Elastic, who also sponsored the live captioning of our keynote sessions. Our wonderful contributor level ticket holders. And our in-kind sponsors, Sticker Mule, The Sizzle, and No Starch Press. And don't forget, there are still discount codes available on the conference website for all our sponsors. Please go and check the website for details. Our carbon footprint trees, reduction trees are planted by 15 trees. And we had Ashton from Mind's Eye Creative performing live illustrations of all keynotes, barring a couple of technical difficulties with the Canadian blizzard last night. I think it looked fabulous, and I hope we'll have high-res copies of these available for our attendees sometime to be able to look at and pore over. We'll also be printing out large format copies of these to give to our respective keynote speakers as well. We'd like to thank our AV providers, Next Day Video and Citrix, for helping put on this event. Special thanks also to our Core AV team for the hard work, Ryan Werner, Chris, Michael, Patrick, Dan, and Jordan. Thank you to Venulus, the open source platform we've been using for the past 2 years for linux.conf.au and other Linux Australia conferences. Thank you to Linux Australia for placing their trust in us to run LCA 2022. And I would now like to hand over to Josh Hesketh to say a few words about the Session Selection Committee. Are you there, Josh?
I am. Am I audible?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much, Mark. Yeah, so I was the chair for the paper session selection committee this year. And I'd like to first and foremost thank all of the speakers for the last 2 days and also on Friday with the Miniconf. We've just had fantastic talks all around. I can't thank you enough for the amount of time that you've spent in writing those talks, practicing and rehearsing and presenting them. It's been absolute pleasure to watch, and I've got a huge list of videos I want to watch over the next week as well that I wasn't able to watch live. So thank you very much. I also want to thank everybody who put in a paper to present. Unfortunately, not everyone makes the cut. We get a large number of submissions and we take less than half of them for a conference typically. So it's very competitive, but don't let that discourage you. For future years, if you want any feedback on what your submissions were, feel free to reach out to myself or the session selection committee. I'd be happy to provide it. But honestly, it just comes down to we have so many good talks, we just can't fit them all in. So please keep putting them in. I also want to thank my fellow session selection committee members, as you can see on the screen. We are quite a large team because we want to give every presentation at least half a dozen reviews or thereabouts, oftentimes many more. So we ended up doing well over 1,000 reviews between us. Each one takes some time to research the content to see if it's something we want to place into the conference. So it's a significant amount of effort. So a heartwarming thanks to all of those people. So yeah, I just want to say, if you're thinking about future LCAs, obviously we're not quite sure what 2023 holds for us yet, but start thinking about what you might want to present if that interests you, or start thinking about what you'd like to see at an LCA. Even if you're not someone who wants to speak themselves, you might know someone who does, or you might know, hey, it would be great to see more talks on topic X. You can go poke people in that sub-community and see if they want to submit. So I'll end on that and say thank you to everyone. Cheers.
Thanks, Joel. Yes, it's great to have all this work done for us. Makes it so much easier. All right, I shall head on again. I think we've got another throw soon. We're very grateful to our Miniconf organisers for putting on 4 wonderful Miniconfs, namely Go Glam, hosted by Sarah Germain and Clinton Roy, Open Hardware, brought to you by John Oxer and Andy Jelmy, Systems Administration, hosted by Simon Lyle and Ewan McNeil, and the Kernel Miniconf, brought to you by Andrew Donnellan. So, of our speakers, we had 30 Miniconf and 48 main conference sessions, apart from a couple of late-minute pre-record substitutions. I'd like to thank all our speakers for taking the time and effort to present for us. The talks are the main point of LCA after all, and without these, we're nothing. I'd also like to thank the very many more people who submitted proposals that sadly we were unable to accept, and you can blame the session selection committee for that. Thanks to our absolutely amazing keynotes and Locknote. We have really heartfelt thanks for Brian Kernigan, Kathy Reed, John O'Bacon, and Liz Fong-Jones. Similarly, enormous thanks to last night's PDNS entertainment, the legendary Anthony Green, soon to be filling your TV screens a bit later in the year if you're in Australia. Bar a couple of technical glitches, it was a fantastic dive into electoral statistics. You might have noticed that there's a bumper crop down at the keynote farm this year. We thought we might collect some extras for you. Now, this is what you call burying the lead. We're nearly at the end of slides for the closing session on the last day of the conference. And only now I enunciate that the theme for this year's LCA is community. This theme is what influenced all our keynotes and speakers to form and customize their presentations. And nothing in LCA says community more than our horde of volunteers. These people collectively work quickly and efficiently, kind of like a nerdy beehive, to make this conference run smoothly and enjoyably. I'd like to ask all attendees to please consider volunteering for future LCA or Linux Australia events. The old hands could really use the help, and some might need a bit of a break soon too. Aside from the excitement and camaraderie, you get entry to all sessions, including PDNS, meals and transport for in-person events covered, and you also get little tchotchkes like this little embroidered iron-on patch coming soon to a mailbox near you. I'd now like to invite Joel Addison to say a few words as the president of Linux Australia. You there, Joel? You're on mute, though.
No, I'm not. So thank you, Miles, for introducing me. My name is Joel Addison, and for those of you who don't know, as of yesterday, I'm the president of Linux Australia. So I've just got a couple of things to say today on behalf of the rest of Council. For those of you not aware, Linux Australia is the body representing open source groups in Australia. A big part of what we do is help run conferences for a variety of communities, with this event, linux.conf.au, being our flagship event. I'd like to start off today by thanking someone who's been a part of Linux Australia for many years, Sarah Germain. Sarah has been a member of Linux Australia's council for the past 8 years, starting as a council member, then stepping up to secretary for 4 years and president for the past 3 years. She's poured a huge amount of time and energy into this organisation, and we are all very grateful for all that she has done. Thank you very much, Sarah, for your dedication to the team, including running linux.conf.au for the past 2 years. For the first time in a while, Sarah is sitting in the audience instead of, being up here on stage presenting. So hopefully this is the start of a well-earned rest for you. I hope you can enjoy having some time back, and we'll try not to ask you too many questions. There's a nice bottle of gin coming your way very soon as well. Thank you, Sarah. Next, I'd like to turn my attention to our LCA organising team for this year. Please welcome Miles, our conference director, and Neil, our treasurer, to the stage. The past couple of years have been quite unexpected, and these two have been with us on an ever-changing journey as we've worked out what to do with linux.conf.au, moving from an in-person event to online. I know Miles is going to say a few things about this soon, but they originally signed up to help run an in-person event in 2021, and they've ended up running an online event this year. So first to Neil, thank you for spending your time to wrangle our budget, having to deal with disappearing bank accounts and sponsor payments going to overseas accounts in the process. As a token of our appreciation, a very nice bottle of whiskey will be coming your way very soon. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy it.
Well, thank you. I have to say I have a fair dose of imposter syndrome sitting here at the moment because my role seems to have largely been avoiding work by volunteering other people. And I should probably especially apologise to Miles, who about 2 years ago I said, hey, would you like to be involved in helping to run an LCA? And here he is right at the front of the pack of, insert your own adjective there. And I'd also like to give a quick shout out to my wife, Jenny, who's been a big help, and particularly with the graphics. But to the whole team, it's been an absolute privilege. And I really do think that I'm the last person that should be here accepting thanks. It's been a wonderful experience. And hopefully I'll see you all at future LCAs. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Neil. And now, Miles. There's been a lot of you've come up to speed with in a very short time, and you've handled it extremely well, I must say. Now, at every team meeting, it feels like you've managed to have some new toy that you're playing with, or changed your computer setup that you're trying out. So to say thanks to you, we're going to add something to your collection. A do-it-yourself keyboard voucher is coming your way, so you can build your own keyboard from the ground up. I'm really looking forward to seeing the final product.
Cool. Well, thanks very much for that. I don't have any words written down here, so I could just introduce you again. But really, it's been a bit of an odyssey, this one. But it's really good to actually have it, get it complete, I think.
Yeah, it's been great working with both of you. So thank you both. I know that Sarah and myself were very pleased to be able to hand the event onto a new team, and you've been very great at leading the team to run this event. So thank you both, and I'll hand back to Miles.
Thank you. Who am I clapping here? All right. Getting back to the slides. All right, so we're getting real close now. Which is the one that goes forward? It's this one, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Sorry. So thanks to the organising team for another Herculean effort. Ariana, our volunteers foreperson. Jenny, our design master. Joel, our main technocrat. Jonathan, our lead roadie. Michael, our sponsor Safari major. Myself, I just sanitize the doorknobs and keep the copy dispenser stocked. Neil, our bean controller. And Sarah, who did something at the LA Council. I can't remember, it's too long ago. And then Will, the speaker's ringmaster and stable hand. Now, I'd like to add a very special thank you to Rob Boland. So, many of you remember Rob being involved with volunteer coordination in previous in-person LCAs. In early 2019, Rob led a bid to have LCA hosted in Canberra again in 2021. We announced the successful bid at LCA 2020 on the Gold Coast. Then just about a week after the event, the COVID-19 pandemic broke out of China. Just as we paid our first venue deposit, the lockdown started. Within a couple of months, we'd realized we'd have to postpone the in-person event at least a year. Sarah and the team swung in to perform LCA 2021 online instead. Then later again in 2021, it became apparent that we couldn't really rely on being able to run the conference in person in 2022 either. So we decided to shelve the Canberra conference indefinitely. Sadly, Rob and understandably a lot of the team at the time were really there for the physical Canberra conference and had to withdraw for the online conference, and I fully understand and respect that. Maybe one day we'll be able to dust this plan off again, but we wouldn't have got this far without Rob in the first place anyway. So thanks, Rob, for taking it as far as you could. And here we go. We're at the end of LCA 2022. It's kind of goodbye, but if we have possibly the rest of the core team online, we can bring them in, embarrassing them in real time. We got Josh. Joel. We got all the people we could get anyway. Well done, everyone. It was really good. Anyway, waving out to the close.
Bye.
Weird people.
Bye. Love you all.
Woo!